John Gardner's The Art of Fiction is a book that I feel belongs on every writer's bookshelf, even though it was first published in 1933. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. You're watching the Chasing the Muses playlist on Cattail Acres. I'm Deb, and in this video, we are talking about John Gardner's The Art of Fiction. Now, I don't know about you, but once I started writing seriously, I was overwhelmed by the amount of information out there. The sheer volume of it was overwhelming. I found myself asking, where is a new writer supposed to even start? I've never heard of half of these people who are writing these books on writing. Why should I listen to their advice? Well, some stories last, and some stories are more ephemeral. And just like that, some writing advice is evergreen and some writing advice is subject to change with the seasons of societal interest. John Gardner's advice is this evergreen kind, mostly. The reasoning that he uses to come to his conclusions is clearly laid out for the reader. But the main drawback is that it's a bit wordy. Gardner meanders so much in his reasoning for each point that he makes that the reader is forced to hang on to his coattails, so to speak, if they ever want to lay eyes on the cask at the back of the vault. It may have been standard practice in his day to do this, and even in the 80s when they reprinted it, it may have still been okay, acceptable, but for post-millennial writers, it's not gonna fly. That said, there's so much good stuff in here that it's still well worth the read. What I wish I'd done with this volume is to take a pencil to the margins, just like we did in college, and it would only take a few well-placed pieces of marginalia, a few tabs and underlines to make this book into the reference resource and the grounding coach that I feel like it really could be. It's worth digging through and placing those notes in the places where you find Gardner's best advice will make it so much easier to reference the material later when you need it. Now, I know I haven't given you much of a why so far. I've just told you that I believe it's worthy of the read. But the real reason to put this book on your writer's bookshelf is because of its status as a classic in writer's education. It's been used as a textbook, and it's just standard writing education canon. Now, while I'm not usually a big proponent of canon, because I believe that you can learn anything from anyone, I believe it's important to have a certain amount of grounding in classical writing education before we go flying off into the vastness of all the information that is out there, because it really can be overwhelming. Once we have a foundation in fiction writing education, which is what Gardner does so well here, it's easier for the student to discern good advice from bad. That said, there's some advice here that post-millennial writers can kind of not follow quite as closely. Things have changed since Gardner's time. As long as it has a beginning, a middle, an end, and the dream of fiction is maintained, you're probably not boring your reader. That brings me to this month's code word, and that is dream. The dream of fiction is the state that we want to create for the reader, and according to Gardner, that's what we have to work to maintain at all times. So that's our code word for this month. Well, folks, that's all for this video. I hope it gave you something, and if it did, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the next ones. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if it gave you any insight into the value of this book. And yeah, till next time, y'all be safe, be well, and we'll see you.